Okay, a couple of days ago, a friend of mine texted me one of the saddest news of the beginning of 2020. One of my literary and musical heroes, Neil Peart, passed away. Very unfortunate and sad news for Rush fans all over the world. I've been a Rush fan for a very, very long time, ever since I was 13 years old. The first album that I bought from them was Exit Stage Left. And I bought it because it had a live version of Tom Sawyer, which at the time was my favorite Rush song. And it also contained a very good selection of the early years of the band and the progressive period, which I really, really liked. One of the most common conversations, frequent debates, and rock history battles that you could engage in back in the late 80s was, if God forbid, one of the Rush members was to be replaced with somebody, who would that somebody be? I remember endless nights, long conversations where we would talk about, how much we love the music of Rush, how much we love the band and the way the members of the band showed their commitment to their work. And then we said, okay, what if we had to replace one of the three members? We will come up with this, speculations, long speculations about, who would replace Alex Lifeson and who on earth could replace Geddy Lee, And obviously those names were, part of a teenage fantasy that we played with for a very, very long time. Obviously in that debate, the most challenging aspect was who could fill in for Neil Peart. Today, we've lost one of the greatest drummers in the history of rock music. We miss dearly, his presence on the stage, and obviously we are fortunate to have his legacy, his music, and his writings. It's very unfortunate that the conversation has, taken a realistic turn. A rumor has been circulated in the internet and social media now that maybe there's a possibility for a tour, a tribute to Neil Peart tour, which would include Alex Lifeson and Geddy Lee, and obviously somebody who could play Neil Peart's parts. When I first heard those news, I was a bit skeptical. I don't know if I'm emotionally ready to walk into a concert knowing that Neil will not be there. It's very hard for me, I'm sorry guys. Then again, I gave it a few minutes. I thought about it for a few minutes and I said, well, it would be a wonderful way to acknowledge the fact that he demonstrated such a profound love and passion for the work he did, for the work that he gave us for so many years. So once again, the debate opens up, and just for the sake of the discussion, I will just mention the names that were there on the table from those early years, and we'll come up to 2020 and what happens today. Back in 1988, back in 1989, 1990, probably the one name that was usually mentioned that obviously ended the conversations and the long debates was Bill Bruford. Bill Bruford had a career that was exemplary, extraordinary musician. He had played in the early albums of Yes and some of the most emblematic albums of the band. Then he went on to play in King Crimson. He played in legendary albums of the 70s, Crimson, and most people will agree that Bruford has the technical ability to carry on most of the songs, at least back in 1989. Aside from that, Bruford had also played in the 80s incarnation, new wave progressive incarnation of King Crimson, which incorporated a lot of electronic drum sounds, which made him probably a very good choice to play the songs of that second era of Rush albums, which were Signals, Grace Under Pressure, Power Windows, and at the time, Hold Your Fire, right? It's the Rush band that we hear in the Show of Hands live album. Even though Bruford has the technical ability to tackle all of these songs, I thought that there was another name that should have been brought up to the conversation, and that was Terry Bozzio. That drummer, was an extraordinary technical drummer, could tackle Frank Zappa's repertoire, which was very challenging at the time, and also he had played with Missing Persons, which brought him into the mix when we think about the new wave progressive Rush albums. Same conversations and same debates come up in the late 90s. And then we switch our preferences, right? We come up with names like Denny Carey from Tool. But then again, Carey would have been perfect for that early repertoire. Was he perfect for the new wave progressive Rush, which we had been listening to for the last 10, 15 years? Well, that other name was Tim Herb Alexander, the drummer at the time from Primus. Fast forward 20-something years later. And it is unfortunate that we have to revive that conversation, maybe for that one tribute concert. Obviously, names run around. Names like Marco Miniman, which I think would be technically perfect to fill in. Names like Mike Mangini, the current drummer for Dream Theater, who can probably do an extraordinary job with the songs. But the name that comes up, in everybody's mind when we think about somebody who can sit there and really drive the red barchetta behind the band is Mike Portnoy. Portnoy has proven throughout the years to be technically the perfect choice. He's even confessed his passion, right? And he's in a grieving process right now. There's several videos of Portnoy in the internet, and he's been quoted as somebody who's, has received the news with a lot of pain. I think he will be an excellent choice. But just going back to that debate of whether he is the perfect choice for the entire Rush repertoire, I want to bring something to the table, okay? I just want to bring up this subject just for the sake of discussion. Remember, we're talking about, maybe something like a tribute farewell tour, a tribute to our hero, okay? And given the fact that throughout the years in this debate and this speculation of what if, we've always thought about the early repertoire, and we always thought about Signals and the other repertoire, right? The other side of Rush. I just want to bring one name to the table, and that is Gavin Harrison. I saw this guy in the summer of 2018 in Venice, Italy, playing with King Crimson. Granted, King Crimson is playing with 3 drummers, but the job of Harrison in the performances is extraordinary. I was completely blown away with this guy. I saw these guys back in September and the 50th anniversary tour and the Radio City Music Hall in New York City. Again, I was really impressed by Harrison's sensibility towards the music. And I think that if we're going to do this right, this is my proposal, and I put it out there for the whole internet to discuss it, to just bring it into the conversation. Let's do this right. Let's do this right for Neil, okay? This is my proposal, okay? Let's have Geddy and Alex have the best of both worlds, okay? The best of the world was Neil Peart. The best of what we have right now would be Mike Portnoy to do all of the early repertoire, anywhere from the first album to Moving Pictures, and have another set with Gavin Harrison playing Signals and Forward. Okay? I would love to see Portnoy tackle, the 2112 Overture, Tom Sawyer, Spirit of the Radio. It's a dream come true for all of the fans. Yes, it is. okay? But then Harrison would be perfect for something like Subdivisions, something like The Big Money, something like Time Stands Still and The Mission. Those are great songs that I love. Distant Early Warning, Red Sector A. I grew up listening to those songs. And I want to see them being played by somebody who has the capacity, technical capacity, musical sensibility, intellectual engagement with that repertoire. Not that Portnoy doesn't have those things. He does. But I think Harrison would be perfect choice for that second side. Portnoy will be completely committed to that first side. Okay? This is, I think, I mean, like, I'm going to be honest with you guys. I don't think I'm ready to see that show. But if it ever happens, that would be a dream come true for Rush fans, okay, who are in a grieving process internationally. We're in a grieving process with our late hero, okay? Let's give Neil the tribute he deserves, okay? Over and out. Thanks a lot.